Hello YouTube and welcome back. We're working on a Nissan today. It's an Armada, which is between 2004 to 2015 body style. We're going to be fixing the armrests that slowly loosen their way on these platinum style seats. Now the armrests have these little covers that go over the bolts themselves. You can use your knife or a flathead or a plastic pry interior part. It all depends on what you feel comfortable with using. You just need something to pry that up and get underneath where the bolt is. As you can see here, this is a very easy process, and we're going to go around the whole car and do all of the seats. Alright, you're going to want to bring the front seats all the way back reclined and push them back as far as you can with the toggles. That way you can get to the armrests and twist them off very easily. Now you can even use a 1/4-inch drive to take these off. There's not a lot of poundage on these bolts. As you can see here, they pretty much come right off with this Klein tool that we have. It's for electrical work, but it's basically easy to get in the areas that we need to with a bolt or nut that has to come off. Because during my day job doing electrical work, I have to use tools just like this, and we always have things on hand so that we can take things off when we're using Unistrut or stuff like that. As you can see here, we have the bolt out, and we're going to get this all tightened back up with some ThreadLocker on there. It's going to be blue grade, so it's not too tight, so you don't have to worry about it vibrating off, but you also don't have to worry about breaking the actual seat to get it back off again one day. I recommend using the gel one that we have here. It's an easy way to apply ThreadLocker without it dripping all over the interior. What you're going to want to do is guide it through the hole and make sure you have it aligned with the threads that you need inside of that area where it's basically a nut on the frame of the car seat. And you can guide it through with the thread lock, spin it in by hand, and then you can set it with your tool or your wrench. Now the key with this is do not over tighten them and do not under tighten them, because you do not want them spinning around too loosely and you don't want them on there so tight that you can't even spin it into position. Look up online for your manufacturer's torque rating, and you can use your torque wrench to set these if you want to, or you can just feel it out by hand, because these are just armrests. They're not something structural or an engine part, which if you have them at a certain poundage, it's a little bit too much or too light, which would cause like a leak on a gasket. This is just an armrest. You're just going to tighten it down until it feels good enough. Now, if this is your first time working on this type of stuff, that's why I was saying look up the factory torque rating for this armrest if you're worried about snapping the bolt if you're just starting out. But for me, you can worry about just using a 1/4-inch drive and you won't be able to break the bolt with a 1/4-inch drive. If you use a 1/2-inch drive or 3/8, yes, you might spin it too hard. But this is just an armrest, like I was saying. You don't have to think too deep into it. Now the tool that I'm using to put this on is a nut driver. It's from Klein. It's basically for electrical contractors or anyone who's working on the job, mechanical contractors, plumbers, stuff like that you just need a quick little hand tightening of some bolts. It's not going to do anything crazy. It's all about light duty work like this. That way you can actually gauge it with your hand and feel out where the bolt is. You don't have to worry about over tightening it. Now there's a total of 4 armrests in these Armadas, and only 3 out of the 4 were loose on this car, so we had to just pull them all off, take our time, and you put a little dab of ThreadLock on the edge of the bolt, put it through the armrest, and you don't have to worry about anything. And like I said, if you're that worried about it hitting anything, put some paper around that hole, make a template, tape it around it, and you'll be able to put it through there, and you're not going to get anything on the leather, which these are platinum seats, so I can understand if you're worried about your Armada getting anything on the interior of this car. Alright, once you set all the bolts in and you're happy with the tightness of all the armrests, remember that you have those plastic covers that go over the bolt hole locations, so slide those back in and clip them in. Doesn't take much pressure to get them in there, just kind of give them a lovely tap and you'll be able to get it in that hole without it breaking. Alright guys, I hope this fixed your armrest issue with your Armada Nissans from 2004 to 2015. Remember to check out our merch for sale and to like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time, so thanks again.